So having watched almost 300 2024 horror films, I was able to conjure up 10 overlooked horror films from 2024 very easily. And that video did so well, I decided to make two more lists of top 10 overlooked horror films from 2024. This will be part 2, and I will follow this up with a part 3. So this will give you 30 more films with this video, the next video, and the previous one on top of our top 10. So lots of films to catch up on from 2024 before you even start 2025. First up, I'm going to start with two titles that are similar-ish, have similar themes going on in them. The first being What You Wish For. This was one that I feel like everyone who saw it really enjoyed it, but I didn't see a lot of people talking about it. This movie stars Nick Stahl, and he is a chef who has to take over for his friend after something happens, and he is cooking for a high-end clientele, and he gets more than he bargains for, or what he wishes for, I guess. This deals with cooking, which seems to be a pretty prominent theme in a lot of shows and movies these days. A lot of focus on the culinary arts, whether it be in The Bear or this Florence Pugh movie I just watched called We Live in Time. There's a lot of focus on cooking lately, and it always, and even the show Hannibal has some really amazing culinary uh, artistry in it. And another movie that was also overlooked, that was a Amazon Prime original, is a movie called House of Spoils. Kaylee and I both really enjoyed this film. It deals with a woman who wants to open up her own high-end restaurant, and she buys this property, and the like produce, the plants on the property is what she's trying to use, and it ends up being um, the I'm trying to not spoil anything, but it deals with witchcraft, and it deals with it in a very unique way. And I thought that this was a very cool film that had some cool ideas in it. So this would be a good pairing back to back with What You Wish For, since they're both about cooking. And I thought that they were both cool. Two other films that you can pair up that are similar and were very good surprises from the year. First being Body Parts, which is an anthology film. You can see where this is going. I think this was a Korean one. I really liked the segments in this. I had a really good time with this. And another one that no one saw and no one discussed. We got sent a screener for this, and I can't remember where it got dropped. Maybe Amazon. But there was also another anthology with Richard Brake called Lore, which we both really enjoyed as well, that had some really good segments. And, you know, anthologies, obviously we got VHS franchise right now, but anthologies, you don't get to see as many these days. And when you get a good one, you definitely want to check it out. And we got quite a few this year, and I feel like no one was talking about either of these. So Body Parts and Lore are good anthologies that people overlooked, and they should definitely check out. Now we've got a few zombie films to discuss here. Number one being We Are Zombies. This was a film from the directors of like Turbo Kid. This was a really fun film, and I really liked the characters and the setup of things. And there's a really, really cool monster, like creature design at the end of the film. It's featured on the poster, but when you see it in the film, it's like, holy shit. It was one of the cooler creature designs of the year for sure. And not one I saw a ton of people talking all that much about when it came out, even though it was a super fun zombie film. Another one that was also very fun, also dealt with zombies and had kind of a unique spin to it, was a movie called All You Need Is Blood. This was about a filmmaker who's trying to make a movie to get into a like a festival, and he thinks that horror is like lowbrow and beneath him, but then his dad turns into a zombie because of a meteorite that hits the backyard, and his dad touches it, kind of like in the Creep Show segment, the lonesome death of Jody Verrill with Stephen King. His dad turns into a zombie, so he decides to use his uh, dad's misfortune of being a zombie and make a real zombie film with real zombies to enter into this festival. And it's a fun film. And, you know, opposite of that, though, a very not fun film at all, and probably one of the most impressive films of the year, is a movie called Mads. Now, this is slightly a spoiler, that it is, in fact, a zombie film. But what is not a spoiler, and what is so unique about this movie, is that the whole film is actually done in one singular take. It's not crafty editing. It's not like cool little stitched together cuts. The director and people who worked on the film have confirmed that the film was actually done in one continuous solid take. And that was crazy to me when I found that out, because anytime you watch a movie like this that shows like it's done in one take, it always is stitched together. They never are usually done in one continuous take, but this movie supposedly was. I don't know why I said supposedly. I know a lot of people question it, and I don't understand that. I don't know why the filmmakers would lie about it. They would say, I've never seen anyone say like, no, we did it all in one take, and then it was found out to later be revealed that it wasn't. They said it was done in one take. I'm gonna take them at their word, and believe them. And I was just super impressed with this. I think that the second half is better once we shift perspectives over to a female character. Her performance is one of my favorites of the year, and this year had so many fantastic performances, especially from females. It's hard to rank them. That would be a list onto itself. Maybe there's another video, like the 10 best performances of 2024. That would maybe be the hardest list to make of any of the lists in 2024, now that I'm thinking about it, because there were so many incredible performances in 2024. I would really have to sit down and think about that. Would I do females and then males, or would I try to put them both together? I don't even honestly understand how I could do that, because there's so many. But Mads is definitely one that got some discussion, but I feel like a lot of people overlooked it, and I didn't see it on a lot of people's lists. It didn't make our lists, but if I made like a top 20, it would have made my list. So Mads was a very, very cool film, and one of the 3 zombie films on this list. Next up is a movie called No Voltes, I think is how you said it. It's like a Spanish film. This is another one that I feel like I really enjoyed, and when I did my review, a whole bunch of people watched it and also really enjoyed it. I have seen it. I actually saw it on someone's worst of the year list. That was like, they did like top 5 worst films of the year, and I saw this was on there, and I was blown away by that, because I thought this was really damn good. Like, this is like a haunted house flick, and it deals with 2 siblings coming home, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of something like The Dark and the Wicked, or what's the other film? As soon as I stopped recording, I remembered the movie's called Don't Listen. It was a Netflix original. So there you go. I think this was a Tubi movie, but really cool film. Didn't hear anyone discuss it outside of that one list that said it was like the worst of the year, which is just not even remotely true. Another really cool movie that I feel like didn't get enough attention, and I wasn't absolutely in love with it, because I felt that the last act of the movie, because we do shift perspectives throughout the movie, the last couple that we're introduced to kind of got on my nerves. But I thought there was a lot of really cool, creepy imagery in this movie, and this movie is called Bezel. This was sent to me by an actor, LeJohn, who worked on another film that I had reviewed that I didn't really care for, but he contacted me and was like, "Hey, man, like I really appreciate the review. It was for a movie called The Hangman." And he's like, "Yeah, like I get your problems with the movie, this and that, but I have another one coming out called Bezel. You should check it out." And he sent me a screener for it, and I watched it, and I did quite enjoy it. And I thought that the creature design, I thought that the setup for it was very cool. It deals with a witch, and there was a good amount of witch horror movies this year, and I thought most of them were pretty damn good. So this one was absolutely overlooked, in my opinion. Not a fantastic film. Not all of these are like obviously 10 out of 10s or anything. Otherwise, they would have probably made my top 10 list, but they're absolutely worth your time. Hence why I'm putting them on this list. And lastly, for this list, for these 10, I'm putting in a movie that was kind of the counterpart to I Saw the TV Glow, and I feel like is more of what people thought I Saw the TV Glow was going to be. So for anyone who wasn't a big fan of I Saw the TV Glow, or maybe even was, but was like, I thought it was going to be something different. I think Hulu's original movie, Mr. Crockett, is actually a little bit more of what I think people were expecting from I Saw the TV Glow. This is like a forgotten television series for kids that pops up in these in like a VHS, and the kids become obsessed with it, and then the guy like comes out of the TV, and it's like a slasher movie. It feels very 90s, even though it isn't a 90s like throwback. It also feels like a 90s horror film, like a The Dentist or something. And I really enjoyed that. I thought that the performance from the guy who plays Mr. Crockett is really solid. I thought this was a really fun kind of 90s homage horror flick with a silly premise that actually works and does the nostalgia pretty well. So once again, yet another one that some people saw for sure. I mean, obviously, all of these movies, I saw people talking about when they came out, but for a very short amount of time. And when that happens, I feel like they just get overlooked. And when they don't make like anyone's top 10 lists or anyone's discussion lists at the end of the year, they kind of get lost in the shuffle. When you have so many movies come out in one year, especially this many quality films, in my opinion, it's really hard to keep up with all of them. I mean, there's so many you can overlook. And I did my best to watch as many as possible, and I caught so many films that I greatly enjoyed. And here's 10 of them. And I'm going to move on to the other list of 10, and I'll see you there. Adios.